All right, welcome. Welcome to another podcast of Adeel Pirzada podcast. I'm your host, Adeel Pirzada, and today we got a very exciting and informative podcast about the 5 episodes that we have been discussing. But before I go into that, I just wanted to, tell you guys I'm doing this alone today. Kevin is actually working in the boardroom next door. He's actually working on some important project that we have, and he can join today. So today, yeah, I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna be your, one man team kind of thing. And what we wanted to discuss today, what I wanted to discuss today, is about the duplex construction. We had the 5 episodes about that, and I just wanted to also discuss like why exactly we're doing that, what's the reason behind it, and just a summary of our 5 episode, or and just a recap, and some tips and some notes for you guys. So, first of all, what I wanted to discuss is that why are we doing this? The reason why we're doing this because we love real estate and construction. So we think we know what we're talking about, and we also want to spread the message. There are a lot of people that are interested doing something, in the industry of real estate and construction, but they can never move forward. There's always something that comes up. So what we're hoping that by spreading this message, they're gonna get motivated, or at least something to start, their journey. So maybe just the very initial information that get them thinking, and also get them thinking about some of the steps that we're discussing that they may find, you know, um, valuable for them, and something for them to just kind of use it as a baseline. And they may go find, a high level, very detailed information about the same thing that we're discussing, but it's something, it's just the drop in the ocean, basically. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. So yeah, what it is about the duplex construction is it's basically the easiest kind if you want to get into construction, especially that gives you money, that makes you money, and it also has the benefit of real estate. And if you want to do that, this would be the best way to start. But it does require you to have some things. So it does have some pre qualification. So because you need financing, so you got to have a good credit score. You should have a job or source of income. You should have some income coming in. And then, you should have some experience as well. And you know what? The biggest thing is the mindset that you're going to need. Can you do it? And should you do it or not? And if it's worth doing or not. So all those things are going to go in your head, and it's mainly the mindset. If this is something you like and you think this is something you want to do in your life, you should try it. Yeah, this information that we're sharing on our podcast, and we try to break it down the process, but there's so much. There's a lot in it. So I won't lie about that. There is, it's just 10 minutes and of each podcast, and we can tell you everything. No, there is a lot of information. And that's why we think you need to have a right team. So you want to do this, and we're trying to spread the message so you can understand this and then try to do it. But the bigger message is that you want to do this with a team. You want to do it with people that have the knowledge and the experience, and they have the same motivation as you. So whether they're professionals or your partners, whether they are a company or individual, they should have the same spirit and motivation to do this. They should have the push and the power behind it, and then anything can be done. So if something you don't know, you can learn. And again, the duplex or the semi-detached construction is a lot simpler if when you go into the other things that's, that we can look at, that is a mixture of real estate and construction. Even nowadays, a lot of people will invest and would do a development of a commercial, which is still quite simple, but it does have more expertise and skills are required, and also the lending is harder. So this is like the easiest and the simplest way to get started. Okay, so duplex construction, what we, just a recap, what we discussed in last 5 episodes, is that what you need to know about the duplex construction or semi-detached is, first you need to find the lot, and you have to find the right lot. So that was number one. Then you have to find the design team. So you need surveys, you need schematics, you need initial designs, you need feasibility study. Well, duplex is a smaller project, so you're not going to need all of that, but you would have some sort of concept and what is possible and what is not, and how long is it going to take. So all those things need to be discussed with the designer. So you need the design team. That's why it's so important what I said earlier. It's not a one-man show. It's not a one-man project. It's a project of a team. So you not only do this, you want to do this with people that know what they're doing, and like I said, start building a team around it, with people who know what they're doing. So yeah, number two is your design team. At the third stage, or the third point, is that you're going to have to apply for permits. So there is BP and DP, so development permit and building permit, that's involved. Number four is you're going to need a construction team, someone like Pircon, or any builders that they do this kind of stuff. You're going to need that as a team. And the number five, which is the most important, but we put it on the fifth on the list because it's just given you're going to need it, and it's probably the first thing you want to think about, is the financing, is your lending. How are you going to get money to do this? So those were the 5 episodes that we discussed, and we shared that information with you over 5 weeks. But the purpose of this episode today is just to wrap everything up, and just to give you some tips, which I actually wrote it down, and I just want to give you tips on these 5 things. And down the road, we're actually going to do, we're actually going to have maybe a design, and we actually want to take you through the process. So we're actually want to find the actual lot, and we're going to find that using what's available on the internet, like realtor.com or realtor.ca or LoopNet. So we'll actually do a test project for you, where we will go through finding the right lot, then just the things or items that you're going to need for finding the right consultant or designer, then the exact permits you would need for that lot, and then also after that a construction team, based on a sample or a test design that we would have, and then also I want to take you guys through the numbers, that how would the financing work and how is the cost of everything will look like for your project. And obviously this is going to be based on an area or a city, so you couldn't apply it all around the world or the country, but you could get a pretty good idea how things work out. Okay, so the tips on the 5 steps or the 5 phases of this semi-detached construction. So number 1 is that when you're looking for a lot, especially if this is one of your first project, you want to look for a rather flat and a very straight lot. You don't want to go for a lot that is on an angle, that is elevated, that actually has issues. So you want to stay away from retaining walls. You want to stay away from a lot of trees. You want to stay away from power poles and street lighting. So you want to minimize your issues. Sometimes you get a really good opportunity when the lots are are built or placed kind of, it has some sort of restrictions and there is obstacles. And we actually like that kind of stuff, but we know we have been doing this for quite some time. So we like those challenges and kind of find ways to deal with them. Right now, we have actually a project, and then it's a very elevated lot. It's on an angle, and the services around it are very deep. There is power poles around it. There is the electrical poles around it. So, and then there is a retaining wall. There is a right of way. So there is a lot of issues. But it's a beautiful property. It has a really good view. But it has the challenges. So you don't want your first lot to be a challenge. That would be the number one tip I would have. Don't get into the harder stuff, especially in the beginning. It's not really worth it. It's going to cost you a lot of time. For sure, you'll learn, and maybe you'll learn for real good. But I really think you want to make it a profitable, a feasible project for you. So it's not worth experimenting on this one. The second one is to look when you're looking for a design team, which is the phase 2 of your 5 steps. You want to get the team that kind of helps you design this with you in a way. Like when you're in, so in our episodes, we have discussed that how you should find all these teams. So design your team. When you're looking for it, at least get 3 different designers, or meaning 3 different interviews with 3 different designers. And then see, when you're trying to select that right team, just see, not just because like what is the size of this team and how massive their office is or how busy they are. Don't go for like the very, what do you call it, prominent, like, on the apparent things. Like, for sure, you're going to need that. You need a proper team and make sure they're professionals and, they're doing this and they have someone name and reputation, 100%. But you want to work with a team that you kind of get the sense of excitement and their involvement with this. Like, they like what they're doing. Like, if you can feel that from them, that they love this, they have a lot of interest in what you're bringing up, or also a team, like when you have a meeting with them, they were pre-prepared. They already had looked at your lot. They already had gone and done some things for your lot. They already had done some research. That's the key, I would say. If you don't know a good design team, or it's not in your circle, and this is your first time you're doing it, that's one of the things you want to look for. That there is a somewhat of way of showing interest and also a way of showing motivation for your project by that team. Okay, number 3 is the city permits. So for a standard duplex, without doing any zoning change, and basically with this semi-detached, the session we had, the different episodes, we didn't talk about the rezoning of it. We didn't talk about that we're going to change the purpose of the lot into something else. That would be another project. That would be another, actually, a session of episodes, that how we would look at rezoning. So for this case, and this case study that we had, pretty much for semi-detached, is where the lot is already zoned. And if that's the case, then at that time, you're going to need 2 permits. You will need a development permit and a building permit. The tip is that you want to understand the cost. So when you have the design team, you want to ask them these questions. What are your development permit cost? What is your building permit cost? And is there any other cost? Is there a tree maybe that is part of the plan, is a public tree that is getting removed? So there will be a cost on that. Is there going to be any levies or city fees by the city because of connecting to their infrastructure and their underground services? Is there going to be cost if you have to close down the road? Is there going to be any security deposits involved? So during your process of hiring, or once you hire the architect and once you start working on the design, you want to figure this out, because this fee may have to come out of your pocket, because you may not have your financing in place at this time. So including your architect and your designer team, those fees could be coming out straight from your pocket. So you want to make sure what those are, because they're not really financed, especially in the beginning. And then once you get your lending, they will cover those, but in the beginning, it may have to come out of your pocket as a cash value. So you have to look at that. The next is the construction team. So that's another very important one. Without a construction team, you can't build this. And finding a right construction team, I think it's most of the time is finding hard. It's harder than finding a right consulting team, or or architect, or your designer team. And the construction matters a lot, because this is based on the quality, how the building is going to look, the building is going to feel, the timelines. Your 90% of your cost is this is your hard cost, and then probably 60 to 70%, sorry, it's your cost, which is the cost of construction. So you want to be very careful. Now, my tip is about when you are looking for that construction or builder team, and make sure you check out the episode that we had about this. You want to create something other than you want to check they're professionals and they have a good record and this is something they've been doing. All the things you have pretty much in your design criteria, you want to have those. But also, when you're getting quotes, you want to create some sort of a rating system for them, which should be based on cost, quality, and schedule. And this is something we have talked in our episode about finding the right construction team. And this is what I would say, anytime you're doing any construction, renovating your basement, your yard, get 3 quotes and then rate them, that who has the best quality, who has the best time, who has the best cost. So that would be a tip for you guys. The last one, financing. The most important part of this whole project. It's not possible without having money. So when you're looking at financing, you're going to need a few things. So this is not a project that I would say, or this is not a purchase that's like for everyone. It's not. You need to have a lot of money. You need to have a good credit. You need to have employment. You need to have a job. You need to have an income coming in your account, so the bank knows that you're going to be able to sustain this project. And after it's built, you're going to be able to make payments. So you will be responsible in terms of paying the mortgage for this. These are not rental. So when you're looking at duplex, even let's say you have a plan to rent both of those out, or maybe the one part, and you live in one, most of the time the lender is not going to look at it as a rental property. They may look at it, and for residential, like smaller single family residential rental, the way bank look at it, they would only consider 50% of the rent. And then there are some other things. So you don't get the most benefit of the rental, because they're not really taking all the cost, and there's some other things that apply as well. You may have to go in as you're building these two semi-detached side by side, and you're going to sell both of them, or you may have to go in where you live in one and you will sell the other one, or you may say this is rental. But based on the history and just my experience on rental, you won't get much benefit in terms of your lending and how they qualify you for this lending and your ratios. So you want to be careful about that. I think a better scenario would be that you live in one and you'll sell the other. But again, it depends on the market, where you are, where the house located, which community. Because some communities are, you know, the rental market is really good, and some communities rental market is really good as well. But the price of building, and then selling of that place is more beneficial. So what I really mean is you may not get the rent. The rent is going to be lower compared to what you can sell it for. It's more beneficial for you to sell that property and make money on it than just to keep it as a rental, because your expenses might be exceeding, or may not be giving you much return on your rental income. So you want to look for that. Financing is the most important. So you want to have that covered in the beginning, especially if you're new into this. And if you have some experience in financing, you still want to make sure that your lender can pre-qualify you and they're okay with what you're about to do. All right, guys. So that was it. That was pretty detailed on the tips. I hope you guys would get some sort of benefit and, understanding out of this. And if you guys have any questions or comments about, semi-detached construction, or any help with on the real estate end of the things, like how to find the lot and what our areas are good to build or not, you can contact our company, Pircon Group, and you can contact us through that. But if there's something you want to share, or there's something, you want to discuss, you can also comment in our comments there, and do give us your feedback, like if this is benefiting you in any way, and if after listening to this you have learned something new or not. Anyways, we'll be in touch. We'll be back next week with more episodes, with some new stuff, and hopefully Kevin is there. He's not busy. I would appreciate if you guys hit the like button and do share our episodes, do share our channel, and keep watching and keep learning, keep listening. Stay happy. Thanks everyone. Have a good one.